The two cars featured in today's track challenge are matching sapphire blue Porsches. We start with the GT4, which back in 2015 was the first Cayman to get the 911 engine, which it was crying out for in order to utilize that amazing chassis. Designed and engineered in Weissach, where all the GT cars are developed and tested, it offers a fun and rewarding experience both on the track and on the road. Pumping out 380 brake horsepower means it's not the fastest sports car out there, but with a curb weight of only 1,340 kilograms, it's fast enough. The Spider featured here is my very own car, which is less track focused than the GT4 and has 10 brake horsepower less, but that doesn't really matter because it weighs slightly less and it has the added advantage of being able to put the roof down when the sun comes out. So here you can see a layout of the track we're using. We deliberately used the track that was pretty easy to learn so that the people coming along to challenge the race car driver could have a lot of fun on the day and they could learn the circuit pretty quickly. So we have two chicanes on the circuit. We've got one near the start finish line and one down the hangar straight. Just in case you're interested in coming along and challenging our race car driver, you get 5 laps of tuition with the race car driver taking your car around, and then you get an additional 5 practice laps before you actually set your lap times. Now, one of the questions I get asked the most about BOTB is, do they really give away a free car? Well, not only do they give a free car once a week, but now they give a free car twice a week. Why don't we head over to Christian to see which car he's given away this week?
Thanks, Mark. Well, whilst you're at the track, I was over in Corsham in Wiltshire this week to surprise our latest dream car winner. His name was Tony Overington. Safe to say, Tony got a little bit emotional when he found out that he'd won a near £100,000 Audi RS6 and also £100,000 on top of that as well. Hugely incredible day for him and his family. And that could well be you next week. If you play BOTB.com, we could be surprising you. We have 2 dream car winners every single week with tickets starting from just 85p, and you only have to be 17 or older to enter. Check out the link below, BOTB.com, and we could be surprising you. Mark, back to you at the track.
So we're starting lap 1 with the race car driver at the wheel of the GT4. I'm expecting a really fast time from this car. It went round the Nürburgring, this car, only a second slower than the 997.2 Turbo S, which is phenomenal for a naturally aspirated engine. Coming down onto the straight, the fastest part of the track. The engine on this, the 3.8 litre naturally aspirated flat 6, sounds absolutely wonderful. Remember, this car has got the brakes from the GT3, so it stops phenomenally well. Here we go into the chicane. So it's got 45-55 weight distribution as well, so it's going through the corners pretty well. Not a lot of understeer. This car actually has the Club Sport package, which includes the half roll cage and the 6-point racing harness for the driver, which both of these drivers today needed. They're both actually pushing the car quite hard. And during the practice laps, there was quite a lot of banter between the two, the racing car driver and the owner, to see who was going to go round quicker. So 1 minute 32.41 for the racing car driver. Let's see if the owner, Ali, can get close to that. Ali hasn't done any track days all year, so he jumped at the opportunity to come and film with us and push his GT4 around the track. He actually drove 6 hours to come and join our track challenge. Now, this car can actually hit 82 miles an hour in second gear, so the long gearing means that you can't really get it up to 8,000 RPM on the road, but that's why it's such a fun car on the track where you can push it. So he's braking quite late there, which is really good, which is what you need to carry the speed through into the chicane. I think this is going to be really, really close. Remember that Ali got 5 laps of tuition with our race car driver before he set his own laps. So the really hard part is actually changing your brain to think about driving around a track, because on the road you're trying to drive carefully and you're trying to brake ahead of a corner. But when you're on a racetrack, you actually need to brake really, really late to carry your speed through the corners. Here we go, final straight. It's looking good, it's looking good. So he's got 1 minute 32:41 to beat. What's it gonna be? 1 minute 34:16. That is pretty phenomenal, pretty phenomenal. Very, very close to the racing car driver. So now, our racing car driver takes my car round the track. I was a little bit nervous to watch this. I was even more nervous when I was actually a passenger learning the track. This car's never been on the track before, and I myself haven't even been on a track for about 3 years. So unless you're doing track days regularly, which I don't do, it's really, really hard to get a really fast time around the track. Whether it's an easy track or a difficult track, it's still hard to get your mindset into a point where you're actually braking really, really late, because it just isn't intuitive unless you're doing it on a regular basis. So the BOXSTER SPYDER actually weighs a little bit less than the GT4. So the Spider only has a 10 brake horsepower disadvantage, so there shouldn't be a lot in it because it weighs a little bit less as well. And it actually sounds louder than the GT4, and I don't know why, but it does. So a lot of people think that the Spider is a lot softer than the GT4, but today we're going to find out what the difference is between a GT4 and a Spider. So he went round in the GT4 in 1 minute 32:41. What's the Spider going to be? 1:33:05. Not even 1 second in it. So there you go. GT4 and Spider round the track in virtually the same time. So now you're watching me going round the track. Now I'm very, very nervous taking my own car round, so don't expect wonderful times. But I was very surprised at how easy it was to actually go round the track. The hard thing is that when you're going down the straight and you're coming into the chicane, your instinct is to brake much earlier than you need to. And the problem is when you brake too early into the chicane, you take way too much speed off as you're coming into the final corner. So you need to actually brake really late, which is something that my brain just couldn't cope with. But it was a lot of fun, and the engine sounds so good, especially with the roof down, and we were lucky it didn't rain. Here we go, so into the chicane. The car's really nice and well composed. Down the final straight, getting up to probably around 120 miles an hour. The steering on this car feels so sharp, same as the GT4. The steering is actually wonderful, but they've done a great job with that. Here we go into the final corner. So the racing car driver set a time of 1 minute 33:05 driving my car. I am not going to get anywhere close to that. 1:46:23, so quite a big difference, but the car is still in one piece, which I'm happy about. Well, wasn't that exciting? The GT4 and the BOXSTER SPYDER lapped exactly the same time. Now, I've spoken to our race car driver, and he puts it down to the fact that the GT4 is running older tyres, whereas mine are brand new. So that just goes to show tyres make a huge difference, especially on the track and on the road. So make sure you get your tyres checked regularly. The champagne goes to the owner of the GT4, who came so close to the same time as the racing car driver. So obviously he's done lots of track work, as I said at the beginning of the video, but still setting a time virtually as close to the racing car driver is pretty impressive. If you want to take part, please get in touch with me. Thank you to our sponsor BOTB, and we'll see you on the next challenge.